why are there so many IT certifications? I don't understand. I legit, like there are hundreds, maybe even thousands of IT certifications. How are you supposed to figure out what the best one is for you? Or is there even a best one for you? With there being so many, how do you figure this out? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Yo, what's going on YouTube? My name is Zach, and this is IT Career Questions. We answer questions just like that. Why are there so many IT certifications? Such a great question. And when you do a Google search, you're going to find that you're going to always have different results based on, that term that you use. But I just did a Google search and said, roughly, how many IT certifications are there? And Google's like, well, that's kind of hard to figure out because there's so many different vendor-specific certifications. And there's a lot of vendors out there who have specific certifications like Dell and IBM and Lenovo and things like that, where they have very specific certificates or certifications associated with their products and their hardware and things like that. And those technically count as a certificate or certification. So should that be added to the list? Does that provide any validity, to the field? Maybe for a Dell or IBM or Lenovo intensive environment. Yeah, somebody's going to look at one of those certs and be like, oh, that's cool that you have that. We know that we know you know how to work on that equipment. But for the rest of the world, it doesn't matter, right? And I'm using that as just like a very fringe example. You've probably heard of the most popular certifications that are out there from CompTIA and Cisco and Microsoft, CEH and OSCP and PMPT and those, right? Like those are more popular certifications. They've been around for a while. But nowadays, and especially in the last 5 years, there's just been an influx of even more certifications coming into the industry. So what does that mean? I'm sorry it took so long to get to this point right here. We're flooded and overwhelmed with certifications. And what this means is that not every single job and employer out there is going to know and recognize all of these different certifications that exist. Just because you have one of these certifications doesn't mean anything, honestly, unless it's one of the big five. CompTIA, Cisco, Microsoft, probably ISE squared. And I don't know, maybe there's another one in there. I'm sure that somebody's gonna be like, well, what about this one? Maybe there's a top 10. We could do it. So if you're interested in what would you say the top 10 IT certification vendors are or whatever from CompTIA, Microsoft, Cisco and all that, put it in the comments and do the YouTube thing. But you could do searches for this over and over again, word it different ways, and you're going to get different results from different blogs and different vendors and stuff out there. I could tell you that none of that matters. I had to stop myself there, but it doesn't matter because every employer, like I said, values, weights these certifications differently. And not every single employer knows what all of these certifications are. So I did a thing on the ChatGPT and I was like, hey, ChatGPT, you're familiar with the internets and all that and certifications. Give me a list of the top 100 IT certifications that are out there based on your knowledge. I'm gonna share that with you. I didn't review all of this, and be honest with you, I didn't. I looked through it, but I didn't really dive deep into this. So I'm sure that there's probably some that are gonna be in here that maybe the ChatGPT hallucinated. Who knows? It could be a thing. But what it did here is just, it basically narrowed down the top 100, and it even grouped it. So, starting from the very top of this, we'll share this: foundation and general security certifications, starting with CompTIA Security Plus. Security Plus. We got offensive security, defensive security, forensics, governance. We have cloud certifications. We have networking and infrastructure certifications, systems administration and virtualization certs, data analytics and AI, machine learning certs, project management certs, and government DoD specific certs, device and endpoint management cert. There's 100 certifications right there, right? I promise you that not every single employer in the world, a hiring manager, hiring director, even, these hiring managers and directors who are very, very tech savvy, there are going to be certifications on this list that they've never even heard of. And if they see it on your resume, it's not going to mean anything to them. It just won't. So there's one issue, I guess, with the overabundance of certifications is that you're going to run across many times where some of these not as popular certifications just don't mean a gosh darn thing to people that are out there, to actual hiring managers and directors. HR doesn't mean anything to them. They just look past it and they're like, whatever, that's fine. And then there's the popular certifications where, the CompTIAs and the Microsofts and the Ciscos and all that, There are hiring managers who look at those certifications, say, yeah, those are great. We're glad that you have them. Sometimes they even require you have those certifications, which is great. You're always going to see, not always, a lot of times you're going to see that on job descriptions where they're asking for very specific certifications. That's what you want to pay attention to the most. So these fringe and niche certifications that, sound really, really cool might not always be the best for you in your journey if there are jobs out there that are requiring very specific certifications. And you could say, well, I took the PMPT certification because in my opinion, it's better than the OSCP, right? But jobs out there require the OSCP, even though the PMPT, in my personal opinion, probably is a better certification than the OSCP just based on how it's delivered alone. It's not as popular as the OSCP. There's not as many employers out there who know what that certification is. So if they see it on a resume, they're going to look at it and say, where's your OSCP? And you could be like, well, I have the PMPT. And they're going to be like, what the heck is that? That's going to happen. And that's not shade towards anybody that's out there in regards to this. It's just like, these are facts. It's just like what it is, right? So when you're looking at certifications and trying to figure out what it is that you should do based on like this tremendous list of certifications, is number one, what area of IT are you in? Are you interested in? Or I guess, are you trying to get into? I guess that's maybe more than one, but I think it's like one question. Like what area of IT do you want to be working in? Are there certifications that, are there certifications that exist that cover that specific area? And then number three, what is the most popular, or what are the most popular certifications in that specific niche? And those are probably the ones that you should be going with, and not so much the fringe ones at this point. And again, I'm not trying to like discredit these ones that aren't as popular, and I keep saying fringe, and I don't mean that in a bad way. There's not as well known. And if you're struggling and you're trying to figure out like what it is that you should be doing, probably going with a certification that's well known and industry known is going to be the better bet for you. But ultimately, and I know this is like a weird video and I'm going on so long already, but at the end of the day, certifications don't carry all the weight of the world. And just because you get a certification doesn't mean or guarantee that you'll even get a job, that you're even qualified for the job. Even though they might ask for that certification, they might require that certification, it still doesn't mean that you're qualified for that role. And that's something that I think is really, really important about certifications as a whole too, and trying to understand. Yes, a certification will help provide some validity to your knowledge, but at the end of the day, you need to look at a certification as validity for you. It's reassuring to you and validating your knowledge. You go out and you take that exam for that cert and you pass it, you've validated to yourself that you know that knowledge, and you should be proud of yourself. Anytime you go and take an exam or learn something new, it's new knowledge that you're able to take forward with you forever. And nobody could ever replace that. Nobody could put a value on that. So that's one thing that you need to take away from this. Unfortunately, like the other side of that is, again, like having that validation doesn't provide qualification, right? Qualification comes down to, are you actually able to complete and do the job duty that, you're interviewing for, or whatever, like sometimes a certification can help provide some validation for that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't qualify you for that. You might not have all of the knowledge and expertise that is needed to do that job. You've gone through and maybe validated some of that knowledge to an extent, which is what certifications do, but it doesn't necessarily prove that you can do the job, like hands-on do the job. And that's kind of the downside to certifications as well. So what I'm saying is a certification isn't going to gold stamp you into a job position. You have to do more. It's not just certifications these days that help you out. It's networking, connecting with the community, being part of the communities. That's what's going to make the biggest difference. And this video is just mainly a huge ramble at this point. So hopefully it works out. So what I want you to walk away from this video with ultimately is just knowledge and understanding that just because you get a certification doesn't mean that you're qualified for anything. And also with how we started the video with, the amount of certifications that are out there, it's honestly just best to go with some of the most popular ones that are out there and requested. And you can do like Indeed searches and LinkedIn searches for those specific certifications to see how many jobs out there are looking for people who have those certs. It's a great way to help you understand how effective that certification is going to be in the job market. It's something you should do every time you're looking at a new cert. Honestly, if it's not to help like give you more knowledge, then you have to look at the marketability side of it, you know, and that's kind of what it is. So I don't know. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Get out there and connect with people on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, because outside of having a certification or a degree, I think the most important thing that you could be doing to accelerate your career is networking with people, being part of communities. So hopefully you do that. And hopefully you found this video useful. It was a ramble. Anyway, as always, take it easy.